When you're investing in an education institute, you do not just invest the money, you want to ensure that your financial status should have no bearing in your professional successes. If you are joining it for like-mindedness, I don't think you will learn.
Have you ever wondered what are the difference between ISB MBA and Gj Mba? It's a question that I very famously get on my LinkedIn, on my YouTube channel. And if you're new to my channel, then welcome. I talk about all things MBA, all things management consulting, and all things career and travel whenever I'm on a chai break. So feel free to hit on the subscribe and the notification button so that you are notified whenever I'm bringing out these really cool videos for all of you.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
And in today's podcast, very excited to have Naman again. Naman last time was very much in demand. A lot of you actually commented in the comment section that you would want to see Naman again. So here is Naman with me, and much needed so, because we both are the co-founders at Global Governance Initiative together. And for those of you who don't know, Naman is the co-founder at Global Governance Initiative. He has worked with the United Nations previously. He has been working with leading Eastern European governments as well and helping them with their public policy strategy. So Naman, welcome to my channel yet again. How are you feeling?
To be honest, I'm feeling incredibly nervous. I think the last video went viral. I hope this virality thing does not happen with this video, because a lot of very interesting comments follow through when a video goes viral. And I'm equally excited to be on this channel. You have a wonderful audience, a wonderful base, and I look forward to being a part in their productive journey.
Perfect. Lovely. Thanks a lot, Naman, for that initial words. So Naman, you and I both know I'm from ISB, and we both have co-founded GGI almost 4 years ago. Any astute, smart person is typically in love with their alma mater. They never talk it down. So in this video, I am going to be, if I were to ask similar questions around ISB MBA versus Gj Mba, I'm going to be facing a lot of conundrum. So I will try my best to share a bipartisan view so that it is as beneficial to our audience as much as possible. And I'm sure the same will be for you, because we both know how much ISB has interestingly given to Global Governance Initiative as well. So there are a set of 7 questions or 7 sections we have. And if you in the audience, if you have views on any of these 7 sections, feel free to let us know of your views. We want to get as many views as possible. And watch till the end if you want to know the salary or the employment figure comparisons as well, so that you get to know about the employment figures at Gj Mba right now. So Namar, very excited to start with the legacy front. The fact of the matter is that people care about legacy, and why not? I went to ISB MBA. You have studied at Fletcher, you have studied at Dartmouth as well. Both are legacy institutes, right? And let's get started. Why don't you compare Gj Mba versus ISB MBA on legacy front?
Okay, so first and foremost, I am not an ISB alum, and still I'm in love with ISB. It has a beautiful campus and good food, and some wonderful people and professors, and honestly, it's one of the best academic institute that this country has created in a lot of years. So those words were to be spoken out loud and very clearly and categorically. Now, in terms of legacy, ISB wins versus Gj Mba. GGI is 4 years old institution. ISB is more than 20 years old institution. I think there's no comparison, at least at my end, in terms of legacy. So I don't have much words to say here. After you, Shatakshi, what do you think?
I completely concur. Hands down, ISB wins there. So if you're looking for a legacy institution, we have just 4 years. Of course, we are trying to build a legacy with GGI. We have both discussed how we want to do this ourselves for 10 years and then hand over to our alumni. But we have a long journey in front of us. ISB, hands down, has a very beautiful journey started by the right set of people in this country and attracting the right kind of talent as well. So with that, Naman, let's talk about the second section, the learning curriculum, right? ISB is largely driven by academia. GGI, we have a very different model, right? And we have thought about it very purposefully so. So over to you. Why don't you compare the academics and the curriculum of ISB MBA versus Gj MBA?
Absolutely. And before I talk more in length about comparing the curriculum and the subsequent questions, this has to be said out loud and out clearly that I am a co-founder of GGI. And therefore, many of my views will be laced with a lot of biases. So take my views with enormous grain of salt. And if you are considering to apply to GGI, make sure that you do not go by these words. Talk to our alumni, talk to our advisors, our mentors, go through the unfiltered feedback of the people who are associated with the program. Because at the end of the day, when you're investing in an education institute, you do not just invest the money, you also invest in terms of time. You invest your emotions. And therefore, it's extremely important that you do your own due diligence. We'll try our best to be unbiased, but because we are also the founders of GGI, and we want to ensure that GGI grows in the journey and builds its own unique legacy, there can be certain biases. So in terms of the curriculum, I tend to think of GGI MBA as an MBA that's like, HBS combined with McKinsey, where you study certain concepts, but you study those concepts by someone who has implemented, formulated, and designed those concepts in the first place. So many of our speakers, in fact, all of our speakers are industry practitioners. So right from Rajat Gupta to Arun Myra to all the impact investment gurus and the founders of the funds, whosoever has taken class at GGI, they all practiced those concepts. They all designed the products at Amazon or Netflix or Tesla. So whenever they're teaching at GGI, they're writing their own cases. And that does not happen anywhere in the world, except Harvard and Stanford to some extent. And unfortunately or fortunately, at ISB, the curriculum is designed by combining both the aspects of the industry. There are theoretical professors who will go through the nitty-gritties of the concepts, which is much more needed, which is absolutely needed. And they will combine this with industry outlook. But at GGI, it's pure play practitioners' viewpoint on things. And that is what we intend to deliver via our masterclasses. What are your views on the same question, Shatakshi?
Sure, it's a good question and a well articulated answer, Naman, that you gave. Thank you so much for that. If I think about ISB MBA, if I were to give a fair shot to it, the fact of the matter is ISB's MBA curriculum is pretty advanced. And there is a reason for it. When IIMs, the leading government institutes, and I'm very sure and I believe in it that IIMs have given a lot of promising leaders to this country, they were falling behind in terms of advancement of the curriculum. Age-old cases were being taught. Many a times there was no case-led methodology of learning as well. In fact, till date, if I'm not wrong, most of the IIMs do not follow 100% case-led module of learning. Here came ISB, which was 100% case-led based on the Harvard model run by Rajat Gupta, who is himself a Harvard alumnus, right? So there is a lot of benefit. And if you were to take a step back, ISB's MBA curriculum is not one of the best actually. And I'm saying this with all the honesty, all the information, all the research that we have done. However, the only challenge that might just fall less for ISB and for most of these MBA schools, and like you said correctly, except Harvard, most of these professors are not writing their own cases. Most of the schools actually procure their cases from Harvard, and rightfully so. It takes a lot of research, lot of investment, and a lot of time to write cases. So the cases that come to you are actually sourced from Harvard or many a time Stanford, because it's in Silicon Valley. A lot of startup related cases are sourced. Very few professors do write their cases. And that was one of the gaps that we realized in the education industry that we wanted to fix. So for example, the chairman of BCG India is going to come and teach untangling conflict at the end of October, right? He has written that case himself. He has worked upon it. It's like Steve Jobs solving an Apple case. The kind of meat, the kind of detail, the kind of content you will have in that masterclass or a class is just unparalleled, right? Because you can ask n number of questions in our masterclasses and you will be able to get an answer. You will never be in a scenario where it will happen that the professor will say, hey, I don't know what really happened in actuality. I know what is happening in this case. no doubt that professor-led model is pretty scalable, right? Because they're doing it full time. Yeah. So one of the downsides of Gj MBA would be that you will not see the same kind of speakers or CEOs coming all the time, right? Which is also interestingly our strength. If only Rajat Gupta would have taught strategy at Gj Masterclass, we would have never invited the chairman of BCG, both former and current, right? Arun Myra and Janme Jaya. So on curriculum front, if I were to score ISB MBA versus Gj MBA, and I will have, of course, a lot of biases, I think Gj MBA wins. Largely because at the end of the day, when you join an MBA program, you have a goal in your mind. Either you want to get into management consulting, product management, impact investing, and whatnot. And we're learning from the CEO himself, who is eventually going to hire as well. What could be a better model than that, right? Because you come closer to not just in terms of learning, but you come closer in terms of networking with these really not just top 1% of the country, top 0.2% of this country. With that, let's move to the third section of this comparison, Naman, recognition. ISB MBA is recognized, Gj MBA is not recognized, right? Students care about it, and why not? So what are your views on recognition?
Absolutely, wonderful question. I'm not sure if ISB grants proper MBA degree. I think it grants postgraduate diploma in management. I could be corrected if that's not the case, but who cares? You know, at the end of the day, Prime Minister of the country is coming to your convocation, and that's a recognition in itself. There are thousands of nonsensical MBA programs, AICTE approved, that are not providing the quality of the kind of education that ISPs and the rest of the unrecognized sort of institutes are able to provide. So in terms of recognition, Gj MBA is also not recognized, and this is also our strength, which we and we are very open and clear about that aspect. Many of our employers that we have collaborated with, we have been very honest that we do not have the formal MBA degree recognition, and we don't give a damn about that, because at the end of the day, what matters is how skilled, how talented is the alumni network, how helpful is the alumni network, and how supportive is the community, how diverse is the community. And today at GJI or at ISP, when you take a step inside those corridors, and when you come into our Zoom rooms and our networking events, you realize from doctors to engineers to chartered accountants to sports stars to even MBA graduates, ISB graduates in GJI networking events, they are learning and growing not because of recognition, but because they recognize each other as positive influences in each other's life. So in terms of recognition, Gj MBA is not recognized, and I would want to be as clear and categorical when I say this. In terms of ISB, it's very well recognized, it's very well branded, and the very fact that the Prime Minister went to speak at the convocation speaks a lot about the brand value and brand equity of ISB. Same question to you. What are your thoughts?
Sure, I completely concur. As an alum, it was a proud moment for all of us, the collective ISB alumni community, that a current sitting Prime Minister came for the convocation. It's a pretty big deal. I am completely aligned. If you're looking for a recognized degree, ISB is the place to go, right? No doubt. But it's a conscious stand we have taken. We can build a campus by raising funds. We have both discussed it, with the kind of network that we both come from, raising funds is not a hard deal. We can get recognized, but our fight is interestingly against degrees. Our fight is against the age-old education ecosystem. If we go and take that degree model, then there will be no more hypocrites bigger than us, right? So it's a conscious stand we have taken. We don't provide degrees. ISB does provide you the PGD certificate. With that, let's move towards the next section. I think, Naman, you have already touched upon it a little bit, but actually I'm changing the section a little bit, which is about fees, right? ISB MBA fees versus Gj MBA fees. It's a very popular topic. A lot of people ask me, Shatakshi, how much does your program cost? How much does Gj MBA scholar cost? So why don't you shed a little bit more light on that?
Okay, I think in terms of fees, it's a very interesting question, because I have never paid the fees for an MBA program. I had a huge scholarship when I went for my master's. So in terms of fee structure, I think Gj MBA would cost you less than the flight tickets to my distant education institutes. For ISB, I think it's 40 lakh, and again I could be wrong, but I think it's 40 lakh. And I think at the end of the day, it's an investment, and it's a worthy investment. And as long as you're investing your money in good institutes such as ISB or Wharton or Stanford, it's worth it. Please do not invest that much amount of money in ridiculous degrees from various n number of lovely universities across the world, because it won't be worth it. You would waste your time, you would waste your parents' money, you would waste a lot of cumulative resources in attaining degrees that will have absolutely no value and no recognition in the real world. So in terms of fee structure, I think I'm very clear, but I think you would add more value to it in terms of your experiences at designing GGI and also at attending ISB.
Sure, no, I really loved your answer, Naman. Gj MBA cost literally the flight almost as of today. If the fees will go up, I'm sure the flight tickets will also go up, so inflation adjusted. But the short answer is ISB MBA, of course, is expensive, and rightfully so. They have campus, they have permanent teachers on their staff and whatnot. ISB, at least in my year in 2018, costed me 33 lakhs. The fees has gone up. GJ MBA scholar fees cost less than 1% of that, and consciously so. We are a social impact organization. We want to make sure if someone has the merit, he or she can afford it. And over and above that, there is a need-based scholarship. Like you were on scholarship for your MBA, right? There is need-based scholarship. So at GJ, we will never say no to someone who has the merit but doesn't have the means to pay. Interestingly, I remember that student who hailed from Bihar, who had worked at ISRO but just couldn't afford our fees. My heart went out and we gave him a partial need-based scholarship. So that is where we stand right now. Our competitors are charging anywhere between 3 lakh to 7 lakhs. We are 90% cheaper to them. We are able to survive with that. Let's hope that we continue to survive with that. With that, let's talk about the next section, Naman, network. A lot of students join an MBA program to party. Jokes apart, they join to not just party, but to actually meet like-minded people, but from diverse backgrounds, right? It just expands their horizon. It expands the way they think about problems. So why don't you have also interacted with few of the GGIans who went out on to do ISB, right? You have met few of my friends from ISB, even though you have not experienced ISB. So what are your views on ISB MBA versus GJ MBAs on network front?
All right, great question. And just to add on to your previous question about the fee, I think the reason that why we started Global Governance Initiative was simple. That people, there are Hollywood's spheres of excellence, and people are able to achieve those excellence because of the network that they are in. They're able to attain that excellence because of their family background. At GGI, we want to ensure that it's never a hindrance. We want to ensure that your financial status should have no bearing in your professional successes. And therefore, we have tried our best, and we will try our best, and will ensure that whosoever is associated with GGI does not have to scrabble for money to attend GGI. If and when they are part of GGI community, they should get all the access that a Wharton MBA or a Harvard MBA has after their graduation. So fees will never be an issue for someone who is not coming from a well-positioned family. So don't worry about that. And about your question about network, and see, about network, what I've realized is two things. The first is about whenever I interview someone for GGI, they say that I want to become part of a like-minded community. And to them, my answer is, then you should not be part of that community. Because if you are joining it for like-mindedness, I don't think you will learn. I don't think you will be challenged enough. So at GGI, I have tried my best, you have tried your best to ensure that we have medical doctors, we have engineers, we have chartered accountants, we have ISRO scientists, we have management consultants, civil servants, armed forces officials in the GGI ecosystem. And I don't think any place, at least in India, offers this level of diversity where such cross-channel learning happens. A few days ago, I met a GGI scholar who also went to do an MBA from an Ivy League university thereafter. And she told me that she is launching a startup, and that startup is being launched by taking the assistance and help of a CA from Gj ecosystem, by taking help of a legal lawyer from a Gj ecosystem, and I don't think such level of diversity exists anywhere in the world. So that's the first level of diversity in terms of professional composition within the ecosystem. Second is international diversity. International diversity that Gj has been able to cater to is largely from Middle East and from African regions. We have collaborated with Oxford and Dartmouth to some extent, but here we are still lacking. But we're still better than ISB in this context. And the reason is simple, because most of the work that we do at Gj is virtual. ISB has a physical campus, and it takes a huge benefit. It works as a huge benefit for us and in our favor. However, ISB has forged incredible relationships with many foreign exchange universities, UPenn to Fletcher School of Law and Diplomacy to London Business School. So if you are craving for that foreign degree thing and international experience, then definitely leverage the exchange network that ISB has forged. So ISB ranks better. Gj ranks better in terms of international exposure. But ISB ranks better in terms of exchange collaborations that it has forged. In terms of the cohesiveness of the network, diversity of network, I think both Gj and ISB are competing. So I don't know what's the right answer here. What do you think?
I really like the way, Naman, you articulated that one should never just look for like-minded people. One should rather look out for people who think differently than them. That is where your thought horizons, your views really get questioned, and there is no other better place than an academic institute to allow your thought horizons or the way or your perspectives to be questioned. I think I'll just take a step back on this question a little bit, because many students don't really appreciate the value of diversity. They typically think in a little more placement and employment opportunity format. Hey, I just want to get a job. Why the hell do I care about diversity? Let me just join any Tom, Dick and Harry institute, right? We need to understand that if you want to become a leader, and we're not just talking about jobs, but a leader, typically the CEOs of new organizations or even existing organizations have the capability to manage, lead diverse people well. And that you can do only when you come from a place of empathy, and you cannot fake empathy for over multiple years in many organizations. You can only have empathy when you have known people from varied backgrounds, attended classes with them, debated very respectfully with them in the classes or outside. So, and that is the way at Gj as well, right? Our team members who work along with us, there is no yes ma'am culture. It's a meritocratic culture. That is how it is at BCG McKinsey as well. The person with the highest authority does not win an argument at BCG McKinsey. The person with the most strongest logic or the strongest logic win the argument. That means that eventually you can survive diversity only when you have been exposed to diversity. And for the first time I got exposed to diversity was at St. Stephen's College, where people across the country came and we were learning together. And that is when I realized the power of diversity. If I were to now talk about ISB MBA versus Gj Mba, I think you have beautifully articulated the power of diversity at GGI. There are doctors, there are journalists, there are lawyers, there are data scientists, there are marketeers. Very interestingly, the procurement lead partner from European region at BCG came and took our masterclass. He was teaching a Boeing case. There was legitimately a student in the class who had worked with Boeing as well. I was just so impressed with the kind of cohort, with the kind of knowledge we had created at GGI. ISB, and I think you missed out on one element, Aman, which is very dear to heart. Gj MBA has more than 55% of women, which is in fact part of our mission alignment as well. We started entirety of GGI to empower youngsters and women to start having a seat on the table in business roles and public policy roles. ISB, to my mind, and I'm saying this with all the unbiasedness I can have, I found it to be a little more homogeneous. I believe there was a little more engineering crowd, but it is way better, healthily maintained than many of the top IIMs of the world, in India, of course. I found it has better women representation than all the top academic institutes in the country. It still falls less than compared to Gj Mba. I believe Gj Mba wins on diversity than ISB MBA. This is based on my 2018 cohort experience. I could be wrong. It could have improvised as well. And I wanted to bring out one more element, Naman, and you rightfully mentioned that a lot of international exposure or internationalization that we are doing of GGI is through the Middle East markets or through the African markets. At GGI, we do not discount the fact that there is a very strong element or a strong power of in-person network, right? We learn during Zoom, students connect over WhatsApp with each other and whatnot, but we have done in-person networking nights, bringing out people from Delhi to Dubai to Mumbai. There is one coming up in Kolkata. We are shooting this while Durga Puja is taking place in Kolkata. So somewhere when the Durga Puja will end in Kolkata, that is when the GGIans across Kolkata will come, have a laugh together. Perhaps they will also do cheers with us on chai. So that is another form of networking that I wanted to bring out. No doubt on an ISB MBA campus, you do a lot of networking with diverse people, whatsoever is available on the campus. So I wanted to bring out this element. Which brings us towards the second last section, Naman, of this comparison, which is the opportunity cost. For those of you who don't know what is the concept opportunity cost, it's an economics concept. It basically says, what is the second best opportunity that you missed out on? Second best option that you missed out on. So for example, if I were to teach you what is an opportunity cost, think of an MBA. It costs you 35 lakhs. You could have put that money in the market and it could have become a bigger amount. That's one way of putting that money instead of an MBA. Second way of thinking about the opportunity cost is you're foregoing a salary, because all the MBA programs are full-time programs. So that foregoing of the salary is the another kind of opportunity cost. Third way is that you could have pumped that money in the in a startup of yours, right? So there are multiple ways of thinking about opportunity cost, but in a nutshell, it's the second best alternative that you are foregoing to pick up for your MBA. What are your views on ISB MBA versus Gj MBA when it comes to the opportunity cost?
I think, and I think you will have, I'm very sure you will have a very different answer to this. For opportunity cost, I am of the firm opinion that it depends on person to person. I think people value different things at a different stage in their life. I think both are incredible investments, and there are clear-cut examples where people like Anamitra, who started as a GGI scholar, went to do ISB. They've done both. There are people like Maya Roy, who graduated from ISB and then came to GJI. There are folks who have been to GGI. Akshat, I think he was a GGI scholar and then went on to work at Tech Mahindra at a post ISB sort of a role. So I think opportunity cost, I think in education space, it's very, very person specific. Both are great decisions, and I don't think I can calculate that opportunity cost for you. Of course, with Gj Mba, you do not have to quit your job. You can do this along with your job. With ISB, that's an issue. But again, if you were to quit your job to an ISB MBA, I'm sure the return is going to be enormous. So I don't think we can compare opportunity cost for both the organizations. Both are great investments. If possible, make the best use of both the opportunities. It's up to you. How would you answer this question? Great question, but I don't think I have a clear answer to this.
Sure, Naman, you're right. Opportunity cost is not the only way of taking decisions, because if you get stuck with opportunity cost, then you will never be able to take big risks in life, right? People typically who just get stuck with opportunity cost take very safe decisions. But we all know mathematically, for example, when I joined ISB MBA, I was leaving a salary of 80,000 per month back then, and this is 2017. At Gj Mba, because we are largely a weekend only program for 6 months, that means that you do not have to forego your salary, right? That also means that you can get into a new job if, of course, you're looking for a job switch, if, of course, you do the program well after 6 months as well. So mathematically, ISB MBA might be having a large opportunity cost, then Gj's MBA opportunity cost is low. So the barrier to entry is relatively less. You're not leaving anything to join GGI. But I completely agree with you. You should not just think about taking decisions from just opportunity cost standpoint. It is just a mathematical way of thinking about things. There are multiple other parts of the equation that we have just discussed, from legacy to network to the fees and whatnot. And with that, we are almost at the end of this entire comparison video. So drum roll. which is about employment figures and kind of opportunities that one can get after ISB versus Gj Mba. So, Naman, over to you, and then, of course, I can shed some light.
Absolutely. I think in terms of employment, ISB is an incredible feeder school for product management consulting. Not sure about impact investing, but I think there are few fund managers who graduated from ISB. Same is the case with GGI. We have collaborated with BCG, we have collaborated with Clinton Health Initiative, Samagra Consulting, so on and so forth. These are the same kind of recruiters who will recruit from ISB campus. But one thing that I want to highlight here is that even though we have collaborated with BCG, McKinsey, BCG and Clinton Health Initiative, so on and so forth, the kind of roles that GGIs are getting are one notch below than you would get from, let's say, from ISB campus. So, for example, Anj got as a business analyst in McKinsey. Averi joined in at one notch lower in BCG. Anamitra, unfortunately, he did his Gj MBA, went to ISB, and then joined BCG as senior associate year 2. Usually, you might join it as a senior associate year 1, but he was able to negotiate an incredible deal for himself. So people have combined both the two to get much better offer. But based on my experiences, at least in consulting, people are getting good consulting offers from GGI, but it is not equivalent to what an MBA from Wharton would give. It's one notch below that, but that's again a great exit after a 6 months wonderful MBA program. What are your thoughts, Shatakshi, on this? And you can further elaborate this concept to product management and impact investing roles that many of our GGIs have gotten.
Sure. Thank you so much, Naman. I believe I can answer this question in two-pronged format, the mathematical figures. And I also want to touch upon the placement mindset and culture in India, which I unfortunately, and we have both discussed, have a problem with. So point number 1, let me just share the numbers. I believe, if I'm not wrong, and I shared this in one of the videos, Economic Times came up with an article that the average salary after ISB MBA is 33 lakhs. Those are the figures for last year batch that has graduated. Gj Mba, the average is hovering around 17 lakhs per annum, and there is a reason for it. The reason is that we have gone through a lot of discussions with a lot of employers, and we have gotten immense rejections from a lot of employers, and now we are seeing a rising trend where our average CTC offered was 5 lakhs almost 2 years ago. We are sitting at 17 lakhs. So it's an upward journey. We are trying. BCG is hiring. BCG hired. Clinton Health Initiative hired. The impact investment firms are hiring. Leading product management firms are hiring. So in terms of numbers, hands down, ISB wins. There's one more thing that I wanted to talk about, and it is actually about ISB MBA as well. Naman, when I was at ISB, I told you that even though I had my McKinsey BCG shortlist, I was applying for offline jobs as well. And I believe none of my friends did that at ISB, and that is not just at ISB, even at IITs, even at IIMs. People don't do that. People don't apply offline. They just put all the eggs in the basket of the school and expect them to give them a job on a silver platter. That does not happen at Tuck. You and I both know that, right? That does not happen at Stanford and Harvard. That you just expect the school to give you a job on platter. So why does this happen in India? And that is what we are trying to change at GGI as well, right? While we have employment partnerships with leading impact investing, consulting and product management organization, there is a active focus to changing the mindset of GGIs and teaching them how to get a job themselves. Why? Because ISB, IIMs, IIT Delhi or IIT Bombay, all the top institutes in this country, they can provide you your first job. What about your second? What about your third? I know so many friends who graduated with flying colors at St. Stephen's College, got their first job from Bain, let's say, and then they just didn't know what to do after the Bain job. This is Bain Capability Center, not Bain & Company. So at GGI, there is a very active focus in terms of curriculum, how to make your CV consulting style, how to crack interviews in case interview format, and how to reach out on LinkedIn, how to have a very good LinkedIn profile as well. There are OCS session, Office of Career Services, career hacks session that alumni leads. So if there are alumni, the names that you quoted, who have already cracked jobs, they come back and teach exactly how did they navigate the entire job ecosystem scenario without having a placement agency or a mindset. So I am not just saying this from a point of view of comparison of Gj Mba versus ISB MBA, but anyone who has lasted this long on our video and is still watching it, learn how to get a job. Don't expect it on a platter. That is how you actually thrive in your career. That is how Naman and I have gotten multiple jobs without the help of a school. Your school can help you with your first job, but don't please expect the school to give you everything on a platter. That's my time with everyone on this channel and on this video. And thank you so much for sharing, for being here with us and hearing all that we had to discuss. If you like this video, feel free to hit on the like button and share it with your friends so that they get to know about all the interesting content that we are bringing out for all of you. And excited to have had Naman on this particular video. And Naman, if you want to have any last comments, feel free to share it with our audience.
Absolutely, with all the likes, thumbs up and comments, I hope this video still does not go viral, and keep it at your safe treasure trove, because it's a lot of wisdom, and I wish you all the very best going forward. I'm sure you will take a very good calculated decision in your life. ISB, an incredible institution, GJI, again a great organization, and I hope you become part of both the institutions in years to come. I wish you all the best, good luck and take care.
Ciao.